Have you heard? Metro by T-Mobile now includes Amazon Prime. Yes, enjoy the best of shopping and entertainment, movies, TV shows, music, free shipping, and much more. All included for just $40 per line for 3 lines. All on the T-Mobile network. Discover the smarter way. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. One offer per account. Offer subject to change. $12.99 per month value. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Metro customers may notice reduced speeds versus some T-Mobile customers. Video at 480p. Capable device required. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Every ultimate experience Ireland has to offer is always within reach with a 182 BMW. The ultimate bowl of chowder, seasoned with Atlantic salt air, the ultimate swim spot, even the ultimate scenic shortcut that happily takes way, way longer. Experience the ultimate with a 24-hour test drive from your local BMW retailer, because owning your new BMW is always within reach. Visit bmw182.ie.
A lot wider, opening up the audience's eyes. This is a really important conversation, and I pray that it gets enough attention out there with
politics is a continuation of economics.
Not as viral as many others. Disposition on social media and YouTube, and this will be out on YouTube in a couple.
This is our plan of attack.
In a couple of days.
Banks have become an essential threat to our democracy. So consider this justice.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio! The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stargate, to the Cosmos. And I am your host, Janet Kira Lessin, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Alex Lessin, and our producer is the Mad Painter, Thomas Becker, and this is Stargate to the Cosmos. And our guest is Robin Poe, and I can see that Matt is getting her on, calling her right now. Hopefully she'll pick up very soon here. Let's do a little sound check here. Hi, Robin.
Hi,
1 second, and we'll have you come on, but do a little sound check here. And this is Revolution.radio and Stargate to the Cosmos. Sasha, Dr. Lessin, are you there?
Yes, I am indeed. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What would you like to tell our listeners today?
Okay, so, one of the things that we're finding is that people access the other sphere, the non-everyday, through various means, and they symbol it in different ways. I think in terms of extraterrestrials, how my friend Ray Hernandez was upstairs, his wife was downstairs saying goodbye to their old dog who was going to die, and they were going to take it in to, be put to sleep. And the wife was petting the dog and telling her, love and everything. And she says, Ray, come down here. And so he comes down, all excited. Ray comes down there, and he sees these pink orbs, and he's filled with love. And his wife, meanwhile, says, oh, my God, it's angels, the Virgin Mary. And the dog, which was crippled and couldn't move, jumped up and starts wagging his tail and running all around like a puppy. And so we have 3 different beings faced with the same phenomenon, and yet, like the elephant of reality, they all grasp it different ways. And so we have Robin Poe today, who's grasped the reality of the spiritual world in so many ways, and I regard her as a woman of very high wisdom, and she's going to tell us about her journeys.
So, Robin, we don't have a bio for you, so we want you to welcome, first of all, to the show, Stargate to the Cosmos. So if you would just come on and tell people about yourself, who you are, your spiritual path, if you've had any non-ordinary experiences. We'll just let you talk for a little while, and then we're going to raise our little invisible hands and ask you some questions. So welcome to the show, Robin.
Oh, thanks very much, Janet and Dr. Sasha. I appreciate it very much. I'm grateful to be a part of your show and your manifestations and creations.
Yes. So what brought you to your spiritual path that you're on? And tell us about your spiritual path and your contact with other sphere beings.
Oh, well, I started probably back in 2012 at least, when many changes began occurring with the way I started seeing our existence here. And actually after I had some occurrences with health, I ended up having I believe it was a car accident actually that changed my life, where I didn't literally have the full accident, but I went through an encounter after the car was spinning and asking the first revolution of the car that, to please not let anyone else be hurt in the accident, because I knew for a fact there was going to be something. It was on the freeway with about 5 other lanes of traffic. And this actually happened just 3 years ago in 2015. And when the car went on the second revolution, where I was for sure it was going to hit the wall, the car all of a sudden just stopped. And it was like the time stopped, or it was standing still at that moment, and I could see a giant or ginormous circle around me of what I felt to be a translucent, kind of like what jellyfish would seem to be made of, like I was in a bubble. And the cars were probably a half a mile out of my range where the car was. And it was just like no palpitations of my heart. I wasn't breathing fast. So I knew that it was something different than I'd ever experienced before. There was no adrenaline. And since that time, I've been on a journey of just receiving messages or information through different types of external sources, whether it's going through a different type of congregational learning or I call it religiosophy, for like different religions and their philosophies, and theosophy, and the way that I've been speaking and my language that I talk, or other people when they're having a conversation, if it's anything that is not for their highest best, it seems that I just want to assist them in redirecting their thoughts, because I've come to that realization of every thought we think creates our reality. And so I feel I'm here now. I want to learn more about walk-ins, because I feel that's probably more than likely something that I'm a part of. I've been close with spirituality since I was very young, going to churches since I was about 5 years old, and always drawn to be like a helper on the planet, to always be there for others when they are in need of assistance, and things like doing good for everyone on the planet.
Well, let's back up a little bit, and you mentioned walk-ins. So to me, I discovered about walk-ins through the writings of Ruth Montgomery, the late great Ruth Montgomery, and that was back in the 80s. And let's all explain to our listeners a little bit what we think a walk-in is. But from my concept of what my understanding is of a walk-in is that a soul is in the body. Something happens, some kind of trauma, like your accident. The soul, number one, exits. It's like it's done with its job. It's been using your body. It's the avatar. that they were in. They are more than their avatar. So they leave, and another soul, some kind of higher soul contract, has been waiting for an avatar to become vacant, like changing drivers in a car. Mm-hmm. And so the new person, the new soul comes in and starts to drive the avatar human vehicle. And I think most times it's the same sex that comes in, although there may be some cases. And then the people in the lives of the person, the avatar, sometimes they notice, like, boy, Susie's not the same person she was when she went out to school this morning. Different personality. So that's what I think a walk-in is. But then my question is to both of you is, what's the difference between somebody with many alters and some personalities and a walk-in? So let's go to you, Robin, and tell what you think a walk-in is, and Sasha, and then I want to go back to you, Robin, after Sasha gives his explanation. Okay. And tell us more about what you think happened during that accident. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, I haven't read anything about walk-ins. I'm just aware that after the accident, I began having more interest in, like, learning about theosophical things, speaking a language, learning about being the living library, and carrying on what's known as the mystery school information. And so I began to study a little bit about it and learning more and more. For me, I mean, to identify a possible walk-in is something I'm not certain if people actually do that, or if it's just actually the energy that's brought forth. I feel like we are all energy, that everything is, and we flow with all of the energy. So with the walk-in, it seemed to me like I just began to become more characteristic of another entity that once walked the earth back in the 1800s. And with wisdom and knowledge of that person, which Robin would have never considered, even thinking about studying. And that's why I felt it was something different than, like, even altars. I'm not real familiar, but it was just a total different desire for life and lifestyle. I've always been more of the nice giving kind of person. It's like I say, helping someone else is what makes the blood run through my veins. So I've had that naturally, though now it's more very strong in desire of working for the planet and helping all humanity. So whether that's a higher altar of myself that, just had to come forth, for the strength to stay, and I feel after a regression, Dr. Sasha actually did a regression where I was able to see myself, which I'd never had any clue of prior, about the accident, where I actually saw myself lifted by two angelic beings from the car, though I never, it was very interesting and intriguing, and it's overwhelming, to relive that after years and not knowing. So I don't say I can pinpoint it, though I noticed that what I did is I began to just open up that I wanted to become the truest, purest vessel possible for all of the energy to flow through me from, the everything that was, is to come, and never shall be. It's the easiest way for me to explain it. I don't know if others understand it. It's wonderful to get to know more people who are living this now, that we're all here for a purpose, and it is to save this planet, that we are human beings, and it's beingness that we are learning to live. So whatever you want to call, or anyone who wants to call it, it's a pleasure and a privilege for me to be here and be able to share. So thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you. Sasha, what do you know about walk-ins? Are you there, Sasha? Are you on mute?
From my perspective,
there you are.
we don't deal with the ontological status or the definitional status of what a person symbols. That's the whole point. And so, what I would ask you, anybody to do when there is not to worry about the category that somebody's going to put you in, but rather what is your experience. So for you people out in Radio Land, and what you can do is just imagine that you have a something higher, a consciousness that has got something it wants to contribute to you and humanity. And what we'll ask Robin to do right now, and what you can do on your own, is, Robin, if you were to identify with this energy, its essence and its wisdom and its message, you've given us a lot of it, but what would, as this walk-in, given Robin's oratory now, what do you want to tell humanity?
I would share with humanity that our thoughts are vital, and every single thought we think is creating. And the most important thing is to focus on what we do want. We've been through enough of what we prefer not to have in our lives to know that we're here for each other to create the highest best and the good for everybody. The ideas for the end of all suffering, I think it's most important for each of us to mind our own vibration. I used to say, what's the four most important words is to mind our own business, because the more energy we spend focused on others and what they're doing or thinking, the less we're at our highest, best, and good, because it's to each his own. And we are all energy. Everything is made of energy, and all that we have now, we've created this together collectively. And in order for us to be the planet and the people that we want to see, we have to be that. And unconditional love is the way. And every time that we say anything against another, we're speaking of ourselves in the long run. So we should take heed to be certain that we are aware when we're sharing about others that we are lifting them up to their highest best, because that's what we want. Or for me, it's what I desire for everyone. In order to, it's the happiness in the long run too. It's that, the end of all suffering and for everyone to be happy. And I think that's what everyone's desires, to live life.
Wow. Thank you. And Janet, what about you? I know that you have an association with the Mother of Humanity, Nimma. What would Nimma want us all to know?
Well, right now we're focusing our attention from shifting from this, what I want to call it the negative paradigm, the negative timeline, but it's actually all perfect in the divine plan. It was this polarity that was created by all of us, so we could diversify creation and be co-creators with our oneness, with the universal consciousness and source. So, and that's a lot of words. And I'm going to do what I can to unpack it for people, because it just sounds like a lot of words at some point. And but to understand and really get your mind, body, soul, and heart into that we have come together at this time, and things are shifting. And I think one of the things that started to shift, the most recent shift, was North Korea and South Korea coming together after all these years as enemies. It was the modern kind of Cold War. As a child of the 50s and 60s, I grew up with the Berlin Wall, and that was heavy. That was hanging over, and the threat of nuclear holocaust happening as a child of the 50s and 60s, and we were taught to. We had all these alarms going off. Sometimes they were scheduled. Sometimes they would just have these tests, and we were supposed to go duck under our desks at school. Like that would really stop a nuclear, bomb going off. I grew up in Pittsburgh. We were taught as children that Pittsburgh was one of the biggest targets because of the steel mills. So I was really glad when the steel mill industry stopped happening in Pittsburgh, but that really didn't mean anything. So this latest threat that we've had is, the different countries. Somebody's munching. You have to mute if you're munching. Can you mute whoever's eating? Yeah, okay. So in January, I live in Maui, Hawaii. Suddenly all of our phones went off, and we had this threat of a nuclear holocaust coming down into Hawaii, and they said it's not a drill, and it's going to hit in about 15 minutes, and it's like, oh my God, we're all going to die. So I think that woke us up to a higher level energy, and then shortly after that, there was one of these, I think in Japan or something, and it's like, wait a minute, this is like really cruel, your phone goes off and you're supposed to kiss your ass goodbye, and it's like, well, who do you say goodbye to? How do you say goodbye? What do you do? So this seems to be a shift, that this grand awakening with everybody focusing on that level of the phenomenon that made it more real. Like, okay, we're back at this game again. This time around, I think humanity and consciousness is saying, nah, no way, that's not going to happen. So we've kind of upped our light. We've shifted to this higher awareness and to the co-creation of our energies coming together. It's like the Christ consciousness, or the Bible says, when two or more are gathered in my name. So we're gathering our energy in this collective, and we're saying no to a lot of these things that are being kind of force-fed to us, and we're supposed to just take it and swallow it. We're saying, nah, I'm not going down that timeline. I'm not going into that reality, and I'm going into this kind and loving Christ consciousness. I'm not saying it's not a Christian thing, but it's an energy that's very high level of consciousness. And so that's what I see happening. Just in the last week or so, a major shift is happening for me personally and for my planet. But I realize that there are 7 billion of us, and we're all walking around in 7 billion different realities. How do you see it, Sasha? You're a war baby. I'm a baby boomer. And Robin, what generation are you? Generation, I don't know. What was one after the baby boomers? The Xers?
No, I don't know. I mean, from my perspective, if I can, I've been working on channeling Sasha. He's an existential philosopher, and he's full of shit sometimes. But right now, what he thinks is that these are the best of times and the worst of times. You have everything you need to enjoy your here and now, unless you're letting your consciousness be dominated by the dead past or the imagined future. Take what you've got, don't sweat what you've not. And that's about all I got to say right now.
Okay. And who else was trying to speak? Was that you, Robin, or Matt?
No, it's okay. I just was allowing Sasha to go because I knew you had mentioned my name, and then that's perfect.
Okay.
You're right. So.
Matt Pater, do you have anything to add before we go to the next part?
How do you know that a walk-in isn't something you don't really want?
Okay, Robin?
Well, what came to me in that is that if it is a walk-in for me, I would say that Robin wouldn't have had a choice because I died in the accident. So the energy that I was carrying needed to go to a higher level in order to, it's like ascension, I guess, maybe. And if that's part of it, I'm not sure. I don't know, maybe we do a study on NDE or, near-death experiences and ascension and how much that has to do with where we are today now, collectively co-creating and manifesting, because it's something I did not know about before the accident. No clue about creating and manifesting. And so, again, I think that these major, what some would call major disasters or catastrophes, which are all learning lessons. I call them stepping stones or stumbling blocks, in order to assist us in going higher in the levels of ascension, in order to be more free, to allow things to, wash over our backs, not bother us, because life is so much more meaningful than all of the small things. Like you say, don't sweat the small stuff, as to quote the other gentleman, and it's all small stuff, because we're here to enjoy what we have. We've created it, and it's time to enjoy it. And so if it's a walk-in that's bringing us through, to assist in that enjoyment more than having, there is no more fret, worry, angst, or anxiousness, and we can let go of all those. They are truly unnecessary warrants that take us away from the best and highest good for everybody. And these are, so if that's what occurred with the walk-in, or just the energy shift, because many things changed, eating habits, lots of different parts of who I was became
So you remember
more alive.
who you were? Robin, you remember who you were, the personality you were? How old were you when this happened?
This was it's like 3 or 4 years ago. It's been
so
now
you're
the
full-on
past is
adult.
Right, I'm 50. I'll be 56 now. So
you're a full-on adult when this happened. So you're saying that you have this new personality, but you remember who you were before.
Yes.
What are the differences between two of you?
Well, definitely the monitoring of language and how we speak, and how vital it is that what we're thinking and saying is of utmost importance. And I know you were mentioning about the negativity timing, because when I came out of the incident, and for the last 2.5, 3 years, it's been, positivity and sharing that. Well, I'll share this if I may, if you wanted to know about me. So this is actually something that came. I woke up on a morning, which would have been my dad's 90th birthday, and our last name is P-O-E. And the first thing I heard was P-O-E, peace on earth. And all of a sudden, my whole life shifted into that I was to begin speaking peace, positivity, and prosperity over everyone and everything. And that's who I am, evidently. And I didn't realize there was so much in a name. And it's just something that just rivets through my body with excitement and joy, and living a life of bliss on purpose, just by wanting to be what I call abundant abundance for everyone, where it's not just, it's for everyone's desires and dreams, which can be reality. And so that's what I focus on. And in doing that, I in turn have my abundant abundance and all of my blessings of my desires and dreams. And this is just something, we can be whatever we want to be. We all have the power so much deeply inside of us. All we have to do is, if you want to use the word, believe it, or just start to live it. And the more you say it, the more you become it. And then it is what it is. We can have what we say.
Right. Well,
and I've just learned to live it.
In a way, we don't have to wait until you don't have to become what you want to be. The reality is you already are. And this thing about not having consent to a walk-in is usually not the case at all. Once you go deep, you'll realize that everything is by consent, and not only by consent, but that you organized it to teach you the lessons you need for your evolution, or at least that's an interesting way to look at it.
Absolutely. And I too believe that. I do think we all are already equipped with everything. And once we let go of all the preconceived notions and prior belief systems or programming, which I can attest to, knowing the difference, I actually have if it's just being in touch more with the higher dimensional realms of beingness, and even though we can't see it, doesn't mean it isn't there, because it's been there all along. So that's assisted me in being this, because it's the power of all. Like they say, the powers to be, as above, so below. And it's just, I've become a channel and a vessel of the energy. I've asked for that. So if that's, it may not be walk-in. I'm mentioning it because it's a curiosity for me to find out. It's not that it matters. What matters now is that we do the best we can with what we have and make the most of everything. Okay, thank you. I have someone that would like to call in and attest to who I was before and who I have become, or who I am now. I don't know if there's a number that they can call in on. Funny.
Mad, can somebody call in?
229-299-5320.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll have, what's the name of your friend, or are they calling indefinitely, or maybe?
What's the area?
I think it's 702 area code, I
That's
think.
all I need.
He's probably going to call in. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So then I think what Thomas Ahmad was saying is, how do you know you're not being possessed?
That is kind of
what's
what
the difference between a walk-in and a possession? Exactly. Because I think people do get possessed. We've certainly, Dr. Lessin and I have done some exorcisms, and so that's what I do.
I'd like to answer. Listen, Ahmad, one of the things you do that works for a lot of people is you. What?
Hello? You have to wait.
Huh?
We can't hear you, Robin.
They're called.
Hello.
Hello.
You have to shut off your player in the background.
Okay.
And then we lost your guest. Let me call her
Robin,
back.
did we lose Robin? Okay. Hi.
Listen, Ahmad, listen, I'd like to... can you hear me, Ahmad?
Yes, sir.
I can hear you.
Please leave your message for 7022.
We lost her. Okay, well, let's just talk to... Who was our guest?
What you do, Ahmad, if you... what the...
okay.
Janet, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I asked who was our guest, but go ahead. You're talking to Matt, so go ahead. Sasha, say what you want to say to Matt, and then we'll bring our guest on. Go ahead.
So listen, you were saying, what do you do if you don't want, if you have an attachment that you don't want, right? So what I was going to do is just give you a little practical advice. What you do is you say to the attachment, I'd like you can use my voice or my thought patterns, but not take me over. And you say, and say, what do you want with me? When did you attach to me? What do you want anyhow? I don't want you here. Would you, why don't you go away? And it'll say, I don't want to go away because, the devil sent me to mess with you or whatever. And you say, oh, yeah, what did the devil say would happen if you didn't mess with me? And you say, the devil told me I'd disappear. I wouldn't exist anymore. And that's when you say, listen, you too are of the light. Look inside. He lied to you. You are of the light too. And they'll look inside. Wow, I'm of the light too. You can't be destroyed. You are a soul. And now it's time for you to go back to your place in the light, which is your own place. And I ask the Archangel Michael and the helpers of light to cast their net of light around you and your subordinates and your bosses and your coordinates, and take them from Ahmad's family and his home and everyone he knows, and go to your place in the light. Do you have anything you want to say to Ahmad before you leave him? Okay, and he'll say something. I'm sorry, I love you. You say, now go to your place in the light, and you'll feel something go away. It's worth a try.
It's better to help them out.
Yeah, help them leave. They
cool.
think they're helpless. They're trapped too, but you can't. But souls are indestructible, and it's always a lie. Everything is of the light.
All right, I'm trying to call your guest back again. but
okay.
The person that called in is still sitting here.
Please leave your message for 702.
I'm here.
I'll text Robin. Okay, so who's our caller? Yes. Hi.
I keep getting an answer machine for her.
Okay, I'll text her.
Hi, can you hear me?
Say that again,
I'm here. Can
please?
you hear me?
Yes. What is your name, caller?
I am John.
Hi, John. Nice to hear from you. I'm going to text Robin while you're talking, but you were going to tell us that you knew Robin before and after her accident. And you heard what she said before you called in?
I did, yes. I've been listening. And
okay.
The only way I can explain it is an analogy of we actually knew each other in a dating form about 5 years ago. And, the analogy I have is kind of like walking through, the mountainous desert and where once was maybe an ancient waterfall is no longer there. And that's how it was prior to who she is now. And now I imagine walking through that same area in the desert, and now there's a flourishing waterfall just pouring abundantly into the desert, and that water just sustains life. Everything is blooming, and everything that water touches, lives. And that's how, I see her now. It's like she touches things and and they bloom, and her energy, it is just pure abundance. I've never heard anything negative come from her, and that in itself has had a great influence on me, and that's kind of what I see the difference.
Oh, I can tell you for right now, that's my impression of Robin too. But the question is, what was do you have a contrast? Was she more mundane before? Was she selfish? She's the opposite of that now. She's the most generous person I know.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't. She was much quieter. Her voice, she didn't have a voice then. She was more meek and laid back and I don't know if the word is ambitious or similar to that, but now she's just she's out there.
Right. No, I know what the difference is. Before she was locked into pleaser of other people, but now she's become a high priestess of love.
I agree.
Are we? Sorry, I was. We can try to call Robin now again. Her phone went dead for a moment.
I think she's back.
Okay. Robin, are you there?
Yes, I'm back. Thank you.
Okay, good. So I missed what John was saying, but catch us up, Sasha.
Before you were shy and quiet. Now you're out there with a powerful voice for love and peace.
I thank you immensely for that, and I will share what happened is, as I was sharing with you all earlier about the message after I had made a comment where I was very, very ill and I couldn't walk, and I just cried out and I said, if you will heal me and make a way, I will let it be made known. And then I said, you're going to have to write it really big, like across the sky, for me to be able to, see it and pay attention. And within 3 days, I have a recording where a huge blimp-like, I'm going to call it a ship because there's nothing like I've ever seen before, and it wrote the letters, transforming experiences loudly across the sky. Huge. I mean, it looked like they were 12 feet tall up in the sky, and you can imagine how big that must have been. And I recorded it because it was so unusual. And then after getting the message about, as I shared with you all, he's faithful to grant us exceedingly and abundantly that which we can think or ask. And then I went to the scripture also to speak boldly because you ought to speak. And that's what I was given. So I have to say now with everyone, please don't shoot the messenger. Because, when you're given a message, and I have another little story that occurred with me where I ended up at the Catholic University in Canada, and sharing on my way down there with my dear friend, I had been given a message in the morning, and it says, once you make a vow unto the Lord or whomever, you're responsible for that. And then lo and behold, it was a confirmation of just that, where a nun who was out of habit, she was in regular clothes, and someone asked her, well, how do you feel about, just being like what we would say normal in society by not dressing in a habit, not looking like a nun? And she just spoke the same words. She said, well, my dear, once you make a vow unto the Lord, you're responsible to keep that. So my life has been a symphony of synchronicity, and that's what I love to call it. That's why I love the synergy, because it's our synchronistic energy that keeps occurring, that the frequency that we're able to vibrate at. And I'm just grateful to be awake. I call it the game of wake up, world, please. Now, I'm just grateful to have done it, in this lifetime, because now I can get to, working at it. It's not really a job. It's a pleasure, and a blissful one at that. Share the love.
Wow.
So I think one of the most important things is to what degree is who you consider, what you consider you to be, and that the expansion of consciousness includes the sense of you that goes beyond your skin, that includes other people, that includes other beings, that includes all forms of everything, and so that it's how wide you comprehend the you that you really are. I think.
Beautiful. That's beautiful, because we are one with everything.
Oh.
So, John, you're still there?
I am still here.
Okay, hi, John.
Can you hear me?
So, I could hear you, yes. I just missed everything you said because I was helping Robin get back on the air without, so you have to be a certain distance apart or we have interference with the feedback of the radio. So she had to get, I think Robin's out on the porch or something. I don't know. We're having fun. We're in the jungle here in Maui where we live. So I didn't quite hear what. So you've known Robin for how many years? Like
probably
off a lot or something. Over what?
5 years.
5 years. Okay, 5 years. So
we lost contact in the middle 3 or 4.
Well,
so it's been sporadic contact in the last 3 or 4 years. But what I knew of her 5 years ago and what I know of her now is darkness and light. That's the difference. And
interesting.
And she touched on it too. I think when I knew her, there was our vibrations were not aligned at all. Our energy, our connection. It was just probably shallow and not deep enough to sustain any type of relationship. And when we reconnected a month or so ago, it was just we just both felt the vibration. It was just weirdly off the wall in my experience. And so it's nothing that I've ever experienced before, and now it's my eyes are wider open. My mind has been expanded out of my skull, I guess. It's very enlightening for me. I don't know how she feels, but I'm only talking about my feelings. But so like I said, the analogy I used was when we knew each other before, it was like a dry desert, riverbed or whatnot. And then, she brought life and water to it, which just grew life all around her. Anything that water touches, it just, it grows. And that's kind of how, I've, been trying to assess the whole situation here, but I don't want to question it too much. I just want to live in the energy, and the vibration is amazing.
So how would you describe yourself, John? You were just calling in, but who are you? What's your purpose? Do you know why you came into 3D physicality, why you're here, your mission in life?
I'm not sure, to be,
okay.
right on spot. But I know that, my purpose is much greater than I probably have been able to detect at this point in my life. And I'm just waiting, for the fuse to hit the bomb type of thing. And I just, I feel I have the same spirit as Robin as far as just wanting to reach out and help people and guide them and just make, the world a better place, one mind at a time, and so I think we're very on cue on that. And I've never been, in a near-death situation, so I might not appreciate, life as much as somebody that has. I've dealt with a lot of death in my life, and but not mine, and so therefore I'm still, got toe still stuck in the real world, so to say. The everyday humdrum stuff that kind of sucks you down. But I'm pulling on it and I'm reaching up for it. So it's just a matter of time before I'm have another level of enlightenment in my life. But I just I've been loving the journey so far, and I believe everybody's life is about choices, and we have free choice, and we have personal responsibilities, and I don't play victim. I don't believe in anybody else being a victim of whatever's happened to their life. Just rise above it and love what you have left. And that's kind of how I live my days.
Excellent. So, Sasha, feed that comment. Yeah, or do you have more to say? Go ahead, John.
So I would just say, passion-wise, I've always been, I've been a chef for years, and I think that's, food is one of my biggest passions. See people's faces light up when they taste something I've made, and it's great to be able to. I've done a lot of volunteer work locally with St. Jude's Ranch and just anybody else that needed a event, cook or whatever. I've always seemed to be there. People love to invite me over for their potlucks. And every time I walk into somebody's backyard barbecue, I get handed the spatula. So, but I love that. I enjoy, feeding people and maybe I can, that talent and skill and love that I have will be something that grows more universal.
What kind of a chef? What's your favorite things to cook?
Oh, everybody asks me that, and I don't know if that's an appropriate question for a chef, because he would be very very monochromatic, I guess, and kind of lame if he only had one thing that he enjoyed cooking or one thing that he loved to cook. I think a true chef has his fingers in everything and every ethnic type of food, and so therefore, yeah, I enjoy every challenge food-wise, and now, I have somebody that is a little vegan and gluten-free and all those other type of challenges in cooking, but it just opens up my mind to how closed my mind was wrapped around food and it can only be this or that, you know. So I'm learning to make things taste amazing that doesn't have a lot of animal products and that type of stuff in it. So I'm very blessed.
Oh, that's great. Beloved. Okay, Robin, we'll go back to you. What would you like to say now that you just listened to all that? Anything you want to add, comments, questions?
Thanks. I definitely appreciate what John said. And just like with cooking and thinking that there's only, a couple of ways that you can actually have a meal or enjoy something, it goes like that for everything. The way that we reach our spirituality or our ascension, whether we're working with the masters, the angels, or guides, the ascended masters, the Galactic Federation of Light, whoever we feel the resonance to or drawing, it's all us. In the end, it's the self-realization that we are the ones that are creating and manifesting it all along. And it's just great to meet soul family to be able to really do this and not feel alone in the world. For those who hopefully, are listening, maybe even that they haven't had a clue what's going on in their life. If you're feeling extra, pain in your body, we're expanding from the inside out, like our bodies turn to crystalline, and the changes that are going on are so that we can withstand the knowledge, the wisdom that we have. It's quite powerful. And I believe it's being brought up. It's the mysteries of old, and it's why it's not being taught in the school system. That's why I'd love to get the Schools for Gods, Goddesses, and Superheroes built to, as I say, get the show on the road, so that more will know this is the way of life, that is our truth, that we are born with free will and choice in order to decide what is the best for us and not just be spoon-fed everything.
I agree. So what will it take to get this school up and running? How do you envision it? Yes. Sasha, go ahead. You question and then go ahead.
Well, no, it's a larger thing. I'd like to really dovetail on what you were saying, Robin, that the assumption, we call it in philosophy, you call it intentionality, that what you assume that what you've got is what you intended, whether you're conscious of it or not. So if you become conscious that you intended everything so that you can learn things, then you're ahead of the game. So if you look at the things that really bug you in other people, that just means there's something in you that isn't at peace with other people being how they are. So if you can't stand people who are angry, that means look at what makes you angry and go deeper and say, what do you really need? And then you won't be judging other people so much. And same with what you overly admire in other people. The reality is what you've got is what you intended, and you might as well take responsibility for it and stop pretending that you're a victim. So I agree with you, Robin.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are workshops and things we'll do with Janet, I'm sure. The property here in Maui is a perfect example of what we can do with the wisdom and knowing that, we can create it for the best for everyone to share.
Right. So Janet. This gods, goddesses, and superheroes. What do you mean by that? What do you envision? Who are the students, and what kind of things will happen at this gods, goddesses, and superheroes?
Yeah.
School.
I guess we might be hybrid. That's right. Hybrids. And the hybrid heroes. We're all here. Having the opportunity to share our experiences and
there's some feedback here. Who's got? If you're not talking, could you put it on mute? Yeah, because getting feedback. If you're listening to the show, you can only have speakers up on one thing, Yeah. Okay, we're doing good. Okay, go ahead, Robin. Tell us about this. What do you mean by gods and goddesses? Are you talking about the Anunnaki? Are you talking about the Greek gods?
Well,
are you talking about... Yeah.
I'm talking about us. I'm talking about the world as we know it. We are all gods, goddesses, and the hybrid heroes for the children, especially that are coming up. For me personally, I feel that I'm part of the hybrid program. I'm pretty certain of that, especially after having a DNA test that says 3.5% of my DNA is not found on this planet. I mean, we have the proof of a test that says that. So I giggle because I'm just enjoying it in sharing the power that we all have in creating in our brains the most powerful tool and weapon. It's everything within each of us, and sharing that in a setting that's right now I'm standing in Maui, and this is the most enjoyable paradise on earth I've seen. So that's that POE. I say it is great to come together for the purpose of co-creating, which is peace, positivity, and prosperity over everyone and everything on earth. So however that looks, in sharing it with others and their realization for learning the possibilities that they are infinite, that life is limitless, and we can have that which we desire. We just have to unlearn or delete some old programming so that we know what we are actually created to be. And I know there's a program that has been created, and I'm sorry I don't remember the lady's full name. I will send that to you separately. She's from Australia, and she's been working with the Ascended Masters for quite a long time. She also brings in children with...
Now hold that thought. We're at the top of the hour. We have a 5-minute commercial break. We'll be back in 5 minutes, and we'll talk about this lady from Australia. Aloha. We'll be back in 5.
Aloha.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Did you ever feel that things were not quite right? That everything was just ever so slightly askew?
Do you have, to paraphrase Morpheus, a splinter in your mind?
If you're interested in hearing the latest information about UFOs, the paranormal,
ancient cultures and structures,
monatomic elements,
longevity,
fantastic discoveries in science,
downloaded to your brain,
then tune into us. Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out, Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern. See you then.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Join me weekdays for my new show, Tell Chris Joe. It's going to be a problem show brought to you live from Kensington. Thursdays, I'm dealing with hot topics, heated debate, what's new around the world, and ring-ins to discuss listeners' problems and offering considered and heartfelt solutions. So join me, Chris Hart, for Tell Chris Joe. Stop what you're doing, grab a cup of tea. I'm coming live from Kensington. Relax, let me entertain you with a coffee bar online. Listeners' very personal problems. So that's Thursdays, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. See you there. It's going to be lots of fun.
Is your data safe? Do you have the necessary information to assist you in confidently living through just about any survival situation? Is survival and gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? Do you have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands where you know where it is? Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus the USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about here. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or a computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks for that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Well, squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive to get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Looking for a nightcap to fill your listening needs? Come join us on Spaced Out Radio with me, Dave Scott, right here on Revolution Radio. Monday through Friday for 3 hours a night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we will take you down the supernatural path. From ET contact to the paranormal and all of the spiritual, cryptid, and conspiracy stories in between. You can find us right here on Revolution Radio, at spacedoutradio.com, on Twitter at spacedoutradio, and on Facebook at Spaced Out Radio Show. Spaced Out Radio. It's a night of talk and interaction. Are you experienced?
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hi, this is John. Sorry I'm not available to answer your call right now.
Janet, Sasha, either one of you here?
I'm certainly here.
I'm here.
This is Revolution Radio, and Janet is going to ask us to make a donation. Give them your pitch, Janet.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I was on mute. So this is Janet Kira Lessin and Dr. Sasha Alex Lessin, producer Thomas Becker, guest Robin Poe, and her friend John. We are back for the second half of the show on Stargate to the Cosmos on Revolution.radio. But before we get back to the show, I'd like to remind everybody to dig deep into your pockets, your credit card, and go over to the donation button on Revolution.radio. And please make a donation. So, Matt Painter, Thomas Becker, did we make our goal last month?
I'm sorry to say that I haven't checked this evening yet, so I know that we need, $2,600 for this month. So
right,
we at least need that.
Yeah. Well, I was just hoping we're not in the hole, that we were at least.
I don't believe we are. But
okay, we're good.
We're on the air, so we must not be.
Yeah, we didn't have the plug pulled on us. Okay, great. So we were having an interesting conversation about things like walk-ins and spirituality and consciousness, and we're about to go in the second half of the show. Sasha, Dr. Lessin, where would you like us to go? Do you have a...
Okay, yes, I would indeed. Okay, so it's very interesting that, when you hear somebody telling you what to do, one interesting thing to do is say, well, if I do what they say, what would the consequences be? And so that's the basic strategy that I and almost everybody in my profession, I'm an anthropologist, among other things, do is and so Robin is one of these people. Robin, you're one of these people that when you give a suggestion, for example, you tell us, why don't we see if we can see whatever is coming down in its most positive light and phrase things in a positive way and praise our blessings and focus on those. And that's what you advise, I think. And so I say, okay, well, if we do that, what do I get? What I get is I feel good. The people around me feel good. And that's why I love it that you're here to talk and share from your heart.
Oh, thank you, Sasha. I appreciate that too. It is just about having people, I call it understand more that they are capable of achieving everything. And I just like to say it's all possible. So. It isn't everyone that wakes up one day and just all of a sudden realizes, oh, I'm here as a vessel. It's for everyone's desires and dreams.
My cat's here.
I love it. They're just as much a part of this. They are so pure energy. That's what they give. That's they choose to just be able to flow in it. They're calming. They're, it's beautiful what they bring in vibration. They're holding space for all of us endlessly.
Mm-hmm. They are the kinesthetic connection to this universe for so many people. Your pets are so important. They bring pets into the hospital and people start getting well. You got to have a dog or a cat or something warm and fuzzy to touch. It really helps.
Absolutely.
So, one thing I know that you're interested in, I certainly am, is I was with many years with Stan Groff and I've done my own studies, is the use of specifically cannabinoids. They're wonderful. They're help with cancer. They help with people mellow out. They're leading to a world where people can relax and feel each other. I just wonder what you'd like to tell us about marijuana, about the Green Goddess.
The Green Goddess, flower of the earth that was created to heal all ailments. I work with it because at one point, after 50 medications and testing my body to see why I was going through pain and suffering of something different, what some call fibromyalgia, or feeling like my body was on fire on the inside. 50 different medications, pharmacologists, and put me in third stage kidney failure. And finally, one day it was offered as an alternative for the pain, and I haven't turned back. It saved my life. It's the only thing that has, whether it's the cannabinoid with the THC, mostly for me personally works the best, that I'm able to be pain-free. And I know for a fact how much it has changed my life. And for the patients who are suffering severely, like with the different diseases that, like for cancer, for instance, like the Rick Simpson's types of oil, not to name any, we were making these ourselves now, thanks to Rick Simpson paving the way. Words evade me. I know that when it's something also that I believe the reason that the government has done so much to keep cannabis out of the industry is because it is what opens us up to know and realize how powerful and important we all are with free will choice beings, or as the free will choice being that were created. That's possibly the best thing right now for everyone. For me personally, here's my idea. I said I want to drop cannabis bombs, these chemtrails. I want to do cannabis trails for people just to be able to be awake and alive and know how powerful they are. And I believe it's when I make the oils and the way that I decarboxylate it for people, that they would have no anxiety, no anxiousness, no fear. It's gone. It is relieved. And my friends that all enjoy it, they say, like, it's like the old snake oil. It'll heal whatever ails you. I call it a gypsy magical mud personally, but it does. It relieves all the tension and worry, and that's what will assist others in the realization that we don't have to have that in our lives in order to live our everyday beingness. It's unnecessary for worry and fret, and it also, to let go of scarcity and lack, which has held everyone captive in a slave society for so long.
Oh, that's
We're
wonderful.
Here to be free.
We are. I'm a scholar of ancient Sumerian stuff, and the ancient Sumerians say that when the mother of humanity, Ninmah, came from Nibiru, she brought with her marijuana starts, and that's the Garden of Eden was this great big marijuana bush, and when Eve had some of the fruit of this tree, the bud, and copulated with Adam, she had a satori experience where she felt her oneness with him, and she realized that people can form a coherent field and they can feel both separate and together with someone else, and that's the magic of marijuana used socially. And you look in a person's eyes, you don't just smoke this stuff, you look in your partner's eyes, your friend's eyes, and you see inside them the same consciousness that you have. You let your consciousness run together, and you spread that out from yourselves to all humanity and all creatures and all beings. Marijuana can take you there.
Yeah,
wasn't
absolutely.
What they were doing in that garden, though, is they were testing all kinds of entheogens and even things like grapes for wine and beer. It was more than just marijuana. It was what things can get you into an altered state of consciousness. And that was common. You see all the evidence of it on, the Egyptian pyramids, that the gods were using sacred substances. They're called, a class is called entheogens, to open you towards the light. So that's the ancient stuff. And in the modern times, I heard the other day that there's I forget which senator or somebody is trying to launch a campaign to legalize marijuana across the board in the United States. And I don't think it'll get real far with the current administration, but there was somebody who said that, well, there are a lot of Republicans that are supporting it now, especially in light with the medical uses for marijuana. So we have the ancient and the modern. What do you think about that? And I also think if they do legalize it, they're just going to make it like beer and wine. They'll just legislate it and tax it, and it'll be another source of income for the government. It really won't be something that you can grow in your backyard.
But don't forget
something.
It wasn't just marijuana. It's that the so-called Sumerian gods gave us great wine and beer too. They like to get high and forget about the everyday and feel their oneness with each other and party down and have sex and stuff,
Right. So they were, the gods are party animals. They're our ancestors. That's probably why, we have all the beer commercials and wine, and all the legitimate legal half is the wine, beer, alcohol, and all that stuff. But the illegal part is, the sacraments and the entheogens and marijuana. But it seems like it may be within our lifetime, or next 5-10 years, that marijuana will be legal in more places than it is illegal in the United States. I know that they've been working on legislation here in Hawaii to make it legal, but it might be like the gay marriages. It goes from, state level, and then somehow proposed to the federal level. And isn't it legal in Canada? Is it Canada's legal or something? Anyway, Canada's ahead of us in a lot of this stuff. What do you think? We'll pass that little talking stick around. Who wants to go next? We have an invisible talking stick. Who wants to grab the invisible talking stick?
I love it.
Hey, let's hear from John.
John, what do you think about this topic? Oh, he's on mute.
Well, again, I've been. I'm here. I've been using. I've been using, cannabis for over 50 years, actually, and I really think we need we need to have every person over the age of 18 in the United States start growing it in their backyard, in their house. If you have water, you can grow a plant, and I think that would solve the problem. The government would be at such standstill and confused over it all. I think that we should all do it. Get high at one time.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, I'm not a marijuana. I don't do marijuana. I don't eat it. I don't consume it. I have nothing against it. I'm open-minded. I'm okay with people doing what they like to do as long as it doesn't hurt somebody else. And marijuana seems pretty harmless. It has a lot of positive medical benefits. And it's good if people can relax as long as they don't end up being vegetables and never do anything. So I was raised around it. There was this whole polarity game going all my life. I'm a child of the 60s, and back in the 60s, people were smoking marijuana. And my first husband was selling it out of his back room there, and and I was sitting there. I've never really been a pot person, marijuana person, but they're everywhere I've gone all my life. There's always that little room in the corner or in the back at a party, and there's the pot smokers. So it just seems like such hypocrisy that it's illegal when I'm 64 years old, and it has basically been around since I was in my teens. It's a long, long time, 50 years, and everybody's smoking it, at least somewhere. Somebody's doing something. Well, there's another faction that has labeled it illegal, and they arrest people and destroy their lives. It's called pluralistic ignorance. People profess one thing and do another. So I would like to see this change and stop wasting, I used to say taxpayers' dollars, but apparently the prison system has been commercialized and monetized, and so actually they try to meet their quotas and get enough people in jail, and so marijuana's been used as an excuse to basically enslave and imprison people, and once they're in prison, they get used as basically slave labor that gets sold out, so somebody profits. So I'd like to see this whole system busted, and let's get real and legalize it, and use our resources for something else besides destroying people's lives. Next person. Robin?
Yeah, okay. Robin, go ahead.
Sasha?
Okay, I'll go ahead. Yeah, the function of government seems to me to extract more and more resources from the people while maintaining a common good tale that they believe, when in reality it's extracting more and more of the basic resources, and whoever controls most of the resources, the wealth, and that usually comes down to the bankers, controls how much is left for people before they revolt. And what Rothschild basically basically found is that he could loan out money on other people's collateral, and he can control the flow of money in any given place and create wars that prevent the people from ever gaining the solidarity and understanding that they're all one and they're being exploited in this way. And as long as you have fiat money, that's what you've got. That's why we've got to get back to gifting each other, and without a demand of reciprocity, but just giving what you can give. If everybody gives, it's called contributionism, we got a chance. And marijuana lets you feel your oneness with other people. Look in their eyes and realize that that other person is you, and you want to share with them. Of course, you care about everybody's welfare because they are you.
Yes,
Mad Pager or Robin. Okay, go ahead, Robin.
Okay, I was just agreeing with Sasha. Definitely, when we get to this revelation and realization that everyone is us and we are everyone, which is what I believe cannabis totally opens the door up to. I mean, I know there are others who may have not had the cannabis, and they're at the realization. For me, if it's what assisted, I'm grateful. It's all about the same timing, and so I think it's like the answers for whatever it is that, you know, whether it's a key, we pick it up and unlock the door in order to step into it, you know, and trusting that this is what's going to assist us. That's part of the wisdom in it also. I think, for me, it's definitely different than the alcohol, the spirits of alcohol, which can be a depressant so many times. And it's just something a little bit different. So I'm grateful that, I'm looking at this and going, look at what we've done now. Thank you all. Look at 2018 and how, cannabis is legalized. And I do see it going across every state in the country, because there are so many that are benefiting. There are people that I know that have children that were having seizures. Why was this withheld for so long is not the point anymore. It's just, let's move forward with it. So I'm grateful that it's made its way to the top of the opportunity.
Right. So I haven't really researched all the benefits of this, but have any of you researched what are all the benefits of it, like in terms of it's an anti-seizure medication? What else has it found?
It immediately relieves glaucoma, hardening of the eyes. When my first wife was hit in the eye with a badminton shuttle, and her does that ring a bell? Her eye, I guess it does. So glaucoma is hardening of the eye. They give you marijuana and your eye relaxes, and it cures this problem with the eye immediately. Am I the only one left on this show?
I'm trying to not have this phone ring, so go ahead, keep talking.
I'm listening.
Well, the other thing is that there's several known folk cures for different kinds of cancer. And if you say it's a cure, the American Medical Association, which wants to keep you doing their medicines and hooked on them because they get a percentage and keep you, as long as your insurance is there, keep you on their thing until you die, usually from the side effects of the medicine. You can't eliminate properly with some of these medicines. They don't want you to know about the cures that are available for cancer. If you say the word cure, heavens, I didn't say the word cure, I'm just quoting other people. If you say the word cure, they can put you in jail. And there's several books that talk about how they'll just make up any story that they can to put you in jail so you can stop publishing things that show how you can get cured, because they don't want you to get cured, according to the people that I read. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, you're funny. A mad painter. Thomas Becker, you're down there in the South. What are the attitudes around marijuana where you live?
You'll do 2 years for 3 seeds.
Oh, my God. 2 years for 3. And what's their belief that they have such strict rules? That they think you go insane or something?
I have no clue. It makes no sense to me. It's a plant, and it's the if you know anything about it, it's a wonder plant. It makes plastic that's biodegradable. It makes concrete. It replaces 4 times the amount of wood per acre. It's just a miracle plant, and they make it illegal because it will help people.
Right. I think you've got the point there. They make it illegal because it's going to help people. Wow. So, okay, we have about a half an hour. Have we exhausted this topic, or is there more to say about this topic before we go to another topic? How to go?
Janet, I'd like you to hear about this conference that you're putting on. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
All right. Well, one of the reasons that Robin has come across the planet is she's going to help me with this conference. So I woke up on January 1st of 2018 with a clear download message from higher sources, and it said, all right, vacation's over. It's time to put on this conference in 2018. And it was a pretty strong dictate, and it's from my ET guides, for the lack of any other way of describing it. And so I said, okay. So what I usually do is I test the waters, and so I put out some feelers, and it starts to move in a positive direction. So it's part of the manifestation process. Apparently from our whistleblowers, they say that one of the main reasons that the extraterrestrials, the negative bad guys, haven't wiped off humanities from not only the face of the earth, but the totality of existence, is that we have what's called the metagene, the ability to take things from non-material and imagine it and manifest it and down into 3D physicality and create things. And we hear stories like Tesla. Tesla would image things in his mind. Didn't have to go through the drafting it and filing it for, production at the government level. He would just image it, go back to his lab, and immediately build whatever it was. And first time out, it worked every time. So that is called the metagene. So I started the process. I'm not as good as Tesla, definitely, but I'm a pretty good manifester, and I started the process, and I started getting a lot of yeses from different people. Yes, yes, yes. So with that in mind, when I went to the mainland, I talked to Robin and talked to Misha Johnson, a bunch of other people, and sent out emails and all this stuff. So I've got a strong yes. So now we're on the next level of the co-creative process, which is to excite other people and get them enlisted on board and understanding that this is something that is going to take us from this mundane level of existence where we believe all the bullshit and to a higher level of co-creation, which in the consciousness movement they call it disclosure. I symbol it as not only disclosure, but an activism type movement which will co-create a reality where everybody gets their needs met, they feel honored, adored, respected, that this is a transparent, authentic environment where, basically a needs-based economy, a needs-based planet, much like the other planets I visit. It's really perplexing to me because I have been on board ships, I've been to other planets, and their main system of operation, their paradigm is one where everybody is respected. They don't have racism or sexism or genderism or ageism or sizes or any kind of things like that. All forms, all avatars are accepted, and it's not even tolerating, it's just everybody's loved. Everybody's accepted. And it sounds like science fiction, but there are worlds where they operate, and they look at humanity like, what's wrong with those people? Why do they have this slave system of money and control, and our free will is just stifled, and we're shamed and blamed and beat down until we're very small. We don't really have a high regard for anything, let alone ourselves. So this is changing, and that's part of this dictate. And the conference, we're going to come together and create a coherent field, a cohesive, coherent field of energy, which will, much like when the who was it, the gurus from India came and they meditated in Ohio or something, honey? That was back in the 70s or 80s, and they measured how crime dropped. Tell us about that, sweetheart.
Oh, okay, yeah. Basically, people, I can't remember the guru, but he was really cool, and they moved into a suburb of Cincinnati, and they all meditated at a certain time, and the crime rate went down, and it really works. It's forming a coherent field, and there's several ways to do it. One is everybody praying at the same time all over the world can have an effect. And then the question is, well, do you do it when it's 12 o'clock and 12 o'clock keeps rotating? Or do you do it all so it's all at the same time? And if you really start thinking that, you'll inevitably come to the conclusion it's better to just not have all these silly time zones that create incredible confusion and expense. But anyway, so humanity can form if we all pray for peace. One of the best ways to pray for peace is to look at, imagine somebody that your people have been enemies with, and imagine, in my case, for example. My name's Alexander. When I found out Alexander was the great killer, he killed all kinds of people, I went back in my consciousness and I brought before me in my imagination all the people that Alexander had killed. And I said, I'm sorry that someone with my name did that. And I want to take back, I ask your forgiveness, and I want to take back the parts of my soul that are left with the name of this murderer. Will you give them back? And just imagine a worldwide puja where you're looking into the eyes of every person and you're saying, I forgive you. I ask your forgiveness for anything I may, or my ancestors or my relatives might have done, and then you can realize that you are one with everybody. That's what I think of about a worldwide puja. Do it now in your mind, and we'll have world peace.
Right. So that's the concept of this conference, is that we just begin, and we're going to begin in Albuquerque, which is very close to where this whole modern UFO movement started with Roswell. So one of our people was going to take a group to Roswell. That hasn't quite manifested yet, but it's that close. We can just drive to Roswell after the main conference and see where the modern UFO movement began. And then, anyway, apparently there's a lot of UFO activity. There's the Sandia Mountain ETs. They say that these gray ETs are in contact with one of our presenters, and she twitters her messages. They Twitter every day. It's called Sandia ET. You can check them out on Twitter and follow them. So we have all these people. I have about 40 to 50 contactee experiencers, secret space program people, whistleblowers, and my concept is we all come together and we all participate in some fashion. We're going to have our people that do the presentations, but others will, just be a part of a panel. Not everybody can come there, so we're going to have some that Skype in, and Zoom in, and we're going to bring it together as much energy as possible between the presenters and the workshops and the panels and everything, and we're going to connect the dots. The panels, we're finally taking these concepts from the different presenters, and we're going to talk about it. Roundtable, much like we do on all these radio shows. We're going to address the issues and talk to each other. So I'm progressing with that. It's called Stargate to the Cosmos.org. Robin's going to help me. Might even get her up there on stage. And Sasha's helping. And anybody who wants to help, contact us at Stargate to thecosmos@gmail.com. Do go over to the website and register. We do need ticket sales so we can start paying for all kinds of things. You know, we're still in this money system, and it all costs money. So, but we're doing this, and it's October 25th through 28th of 2018 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So, anything else you want to cover? We've got about 20 minutes.
Well, I'd just like to say to experiencers, which is whom we're appealing to on this conference and other things, is that, we found that more and more people have positive experiences. That it's just the ETs don't take in, and stick something up you. It's not just that at all. Basically, once people, just like, if you're a cat, your mommy might take you to the vet. Well, what happens is now the experiences are those kinds of so-called abductions have ceased, basically, and people are getting upgrades and help in their lives. And we see people like Sherry Wild, who'll be at our conference. You see that almost everybody that goes deep enough will find that they gave consent and are part of here as a mission, that they're not victims. They were just not ready to remember that they had chosen to be educated to come to Earth, and many of us are dual souls. I'm not, but many are, who have come to bring, particularly from the Zeta Greys, who have a sense of feeling for all one another. They have a group feeling, which most humanoids don't, and so that the hybrids with Greys have this empathy for everybody in a way that the Anunnaki, our primary ancestors do not. And those of you who are like me, who have had visionary dreams again and again of world peace or something, this isn't just a figment of your imagination, or if it is a figment of your imagination, where is the generation that's imagining? It's in you, it's in the universe. And so this is it. This is the time, if you've had visionary experiences, this is the time to come forth. This is the time when the world is ready for the change, to leave the Kali Yuga. It's the time of the Sati Yuga. Shiva, Enki, Aquarius is here. The Anunnaki are here, and Jesus has returned to help us. So celebrate.
Sounds good to me. Robin, have you had encounters with extraterrestrials?
Absolutely. And I just want to thank Sasha for saying that, because we are all here, and we're all hybrids pretty much now at this point. We all either have their implants, or as I mentioned about the DNA coming up different. I've had encounters of different types. I think we're living it all subtly. It doesn't have to be a major, like we're told about a big bang. And I think that is something for me personally that I guess I always thought that everything had to be extra large, extraordinary outside, and coming and to terms now, learning that we're actually living everything that we hear talked about. It's very subtle, and it's just a matter of desiring to see more or receive more. All we need to do is ask, seek, and knock, and it'll be opened. It's the choice between the fear and the love. And I'll just say one thing for everyone: whenever you're approached and you feel it's something other terrestrial or extra dimensional, it shouldn't be alien to any of us. It is not unknown anymore. We're all flowing in it. The most important thing is to say what you mean and mean what you say, because there is no such thing as language in speaking it. It's all telepathic for me, and they already know. And we're conversing amongst ourselves now. We've been given light language, and whether we utilize it or it's activated, like we have many of us that are here now that are as vessels and amplifiers for everything that's already been given. There's like our friend you mentioned, Misha Johnston, who also does an galactic language activation for those that wish to be powered up for this mission, that we are here. Earth is a planet. We are human beings or earthlings. It's just a matter of stepping into the power and taking back all that we've been blessed with right here that we've created, and not be dictated to or told that we have to punch a clock in order to make money, what to pay taxes to put into someone else's pocket for something that is unnatural. And I just feel strongly that it's time to get back to the nature way of things and appreciating all that we have right in front of us. So thank you for the again. Thank you.
That's so beautiful. And I think in what is important to remember in ascension is what Gandhi said. We have to drop vengeance. If we go eye for an eye, and the whole world will be blind. And so what we have to do is to look at the people that we judge are people just like us at some level, and we can reach out to the divine parts of them from the divine parts of us, and we don't have to be punitive. We have to forgive. I think the Nelson Mandela process of reconciliation by just tell the truth. There's no punishment. Ancient Zuni actually had a thing like many things like that. In one case, when the Navajo were invading one of the Zuni areas, and there was a traitor, and they found, and the Zuni were able to protect themselves. The Zuni are the protectors of the Hopi, and the traitor, they found out who he was, but they didn't kill him, they didn't punish him. He just was an unimportant person. He was out to Coventry, so to speak. And so that's it. We don't have to be punishment. We don't have to put anybody in jail. We certainly don't have to shoot anybody. What we need to do is forgive them and just not let them take authority over us anymore.
Absolutely. Yes, all is love. And I think shootings and those types of things are created out of fear. They're afraid that it'll happen again. And so they want, that's why people are put in jail, so they won't do it again. So if you love them through it, I believe, finding out what the stem, that which creates the desire for someone to act out of malice. Again, if it's a programming, we can go in. That's a whole other discussion about,
You're
so
quite right. Tim Larry taught. He did all these work in the prisons when he was at Harvard, and he found that if he gave the prisoners, every kind of prisoner, listened to them and gave them some LSD and helped them work through stuff, they no longer had any intention of violence. And it was like the most important, the most important discoveries of how powerful psychotherapy with lysergic acid diethylamide can be. But of course, it threatened the medical profession. And even though so anyway, there it is. Everybody is a redeemable human being who's partly got the fractal of the divine within them, and that can be brought out if we just shine some of your love upon them.
Yes, absolutely. Agreed.
So we have this whole thing that's emerging with people shooting, and there's some kind of connection with the pharmaceuticals. I read a report that every single one of them, the recent ones, big ones in the schools, the shooters had been on some kind of pharmaceutical, that so-called calm them down and make them sane, but it has the opposite effect. Anybody have any comments on these pharmaceuticals that are driving these people crazy? Is this just some part of that mind control programming that are...
Mm-hmm. Anything that push down just builds up energy until it bursts out. So if you let's say you're angry but you've been taught you can never express your anger. Here, take this pill, or learn how to do it yourself. So you're never expressing anger. What you need to do is just not act out on anger, but feel, okay, part of me that's angry. What do you really need? Where did you come into my life, anger, and how have you served me, anger, and what are your interests in the present situation, and is there some way that I can, without destroying my ecology, meet your needs? That's the way to deal with it, I think.
Yeah, because there's some kind of perversion in this society. I'm a systems analyst, and I just look at this society. And it seems like every X amount of years, we get some kind of dictator that emerges, and it's like a big pimple full of pus, and it bursts, and it takes over the whole planet. And then we have crazy things like World War II, and people running around killing each other in mass, like everybody's a boogeyman, we all got to die. And that ended with an atomic explosion. And then everybody was terrified of, we almost destroyed us all, and they kind of backed out into this semblance of peace, but it's never authentic peace. It's just under the surface until it's like the pimple that finds another path, and it comes out in another place. So apparently after World War II, under Project Paperclip, all that horrendous, horrible energy of the Nazis, where they were torturing people and killing people and doing all kinds of experiments, just kind of ran across the ocean to the United States, sanctioned by our government. It remained relatively peaceful, although we've had little areas where the volcano, let out a fart or something, Vietnam and all these other wars over the last 50, 60 years, but it keeps threatening to take away all our freedoms, take away all our rights and liberties, and kill as many as possible. No regard for life, for humanity, and now it's at another level where there's no regard for this planet and the pollution. And so, any comments on that? What is happening if you look at the whole global system? That this polarity and perversion always keeps us into a level 0 civilization. We never make it to level 1. We're just always in this primitive, ongoing primitive state that devolves periodically and then evolves. But yeah, next person. Who has any comments?
One possibility is that we've reached that the perversity that you cite, has stimulated all kinds of innovations that have led to artificial intelligence being capable of comprehending the entire situation of the globe and all people. And some people think that Minerva, the spirit of the combined AI, will inevitably save humanity and bring us some kind of reasonable peace on Earth.
I'd like to see that. Robin,
well, if it's going
to take
the AI, I'm hoping that, as you just mentioned, Janet, what I have felt that has been even in this last few months, we're already in the 5th month of 2018, that what I was given was, are you ready for change, rapido, and that has been occurring in everyone's life that I meet. And then told that we are the level 1 civilization. And it's what I put things through Facebook, and what I was given is we are the new creation, manifestation, vibration, generation civilization. So that's what we're here to do. It's time to change the world to what, yes. And we are being the change, and this is why we're bringing about the change. There are more of us that are awakening, the ascension. It's happened. Gaia's ascending, and whether the planet's going to split or Nibiru, I'm familiar. I'm so grateful to be a part of that, seeing the energy, and being the vessel for the energy to flow through for the highest good of everybody. And I guess I'm part AI too, right? Those of us who know that we have this purpose, this mission. This is what we're here for. It's time for, I put things out constantly from other realms of, whether it's, like I mentioned, the Galactic Federation of Light or the Ascended Masters, because these are messages that have always been here. They're coming through, and we're here. It's like, I am so appreciative because, like, Dr. Sasha and Janet opening up the opportunity to pass the baton, to share all the wisdom for me, for my generation, that I may do it also and be here for these wonderful beings that are being born now into a clean slate, and they already know that they're created beings and they're manifesting their reality. This is phenomenal. I said it took them 55 years to cut me loose at the reins. I'm really grateful and glad to know this now. And if it took a near-death experience or whatever that is, everyone will experience ascension in their lifetime, and it can be millions of lifetimes. We have been so many things before, and here we are now. And whenever we are, ready to pick up the baton and run with it, we'll be given that opportunity. Open the key, pick up the key, unlock the door. It's there for everybody.
So when you had your near-death experience, did you have any connections on, like, remembrances of crossing over to the other side and connecting with your guides or the council or anything like that? I have, but I just wondered what you had.
It's been different. Like, when I first had the incident, when it first occurred, it was just like it happened with no adrenaline and palpitation. So I knew it was different, and it really felt like time totally stopped. And then this whole clear field, it was like a force field around me. More, I think it was pretty much circular for what I could see pretty much in front of me, with 6 lanes of oncoming traffic at over 70 to 80, 90 miles an hour, which was, in a distance, probably a half a mile from me. In reality, that I'm sure that's not what it looked like, if you know what I mean. And then doing the regression and seeing the accident after, it was a whole nother scenario. But I only felt myself, or saw myself, being held like a little bit away from the scene and above by, like, 2 what I would say were angelic celestial type of beings, which were translucent. Though I would like study more within myself to hear what I heard and go into it more. I prefer really not to even try. I want to do it without even thinking about it or guessing, at any rate, to say. But I've had several incidents, actually, and that's why I truly can be at peace in saying this is my last time around. I know it is, because I have had several incidents where I've been crushed between a 3-wheeler motorbike and a boulder, no vitals after that one. I heard, at a young age, 11 years old, I heard, pack all your toys and baby dolls up and put them in the closet in case your house catches on fire. And then within a week, I had my birthday, and then I heard one night play possum on the couch, which for Robin, not knowing what that would have meant, but I knew what to do. I knew it meant to pretend I was asleep, and our house literally burned down to the ground that night. If I had been upstairs, I really know I wouldn't be here today. So there are many things that have occurred in my life, and I mean, I just have the
did you end up getting off the couch? What happened?
My brother was upstairs. He fell asleep with a candle that was burning in a bottle, so it tipped over. It caught his bed on fire. He tried to make it downstairs to get water, and he never made it back up the steps. So when I knew the house was on fire, I just immediately went out of the door and ran across the street to get the fire department. I called for the fire department. I'm the one that made the calls for the fire department. So, getting the family out of the house, I don't know. I just ran out the doors. There was no question. My body just jumped up off I didn't even think about this before, Janet. Thank you. Like, literally. And let me just share this. I knew something bad was going to occur and I heard, the voice. So it was like I knew, because I put my brand new jeans, my T-shirt, and my flute at the end of the couch, thinking, oh, well, I'll just grab my clothes or get dressed. No. You. That's why I say to everyone now, here's the most important thing, I think, for me, especially, and I share this. and even beginning a universal tribe in Las Vegas, they would plan, like, what are we going to do for the meeting? And I said, you can do all the planning that you want to do in every day of your life, or as much as you want to do. Though when it comes down to the time, it's going to happen like it's supposed to happen. You have no idea until you're in the heat of the moment what your reaction is going to be. So I love life so much. I just live in another part of the reality of it, like without time as a clock. I know there are important things that appointments that I do have to stay 3D on. Though for me, I've made the transition and have a relationship with time itself, that it knows when I need to be, where I need to be. And I love to flow with that. And it's an energy I'd love to share. If I were able to teach it, I would. I think everyone has to make the choice. It's a decision.
Wait, go back to that. Did they all get out of the house alive? Did somebody die?
Yes, everyone made it out. Everyone made it out of the house. We lost everything. And these are the things that, and again, these are the types of occurrences that are lessons in our lives. For whatever could be at age 12. We had 3 car accidents in the same month of the house burning down. I mean, I literally lost everything at a young age. And, you just rebuild, or how do you let it affect your life? I'm not a victim. And there's another teaching, victimization, realization, vibration, learning, and, synchronization. I mean, that's what life is. And I think growing up, or in the beginning, this is why I want the schools. It's to share these things that people know. It's not that life is not happening to us, by what we're thinking and how we're acting and what we're saying. It's what we bring to us. It's like the law of attraction, or being magnetic. And if it's vibrational and frequency, just like frequency as in how often does it occur? And it's around us all the time. How much do we pay attention to it? The more we pay attention, the more it pays attention to us. And I like to say it's as if the universe is conspiring on our behalf all the time. And so it's what we do with it, how we choose.
We have 1 minute.
Okay.
1 minute
Love you all.
We're done with the show. Wrap it up. Last words, everybody. Sasha, what would you like to say?
Thank you so much, Rob, and thank you, John. It's wonderful hearing from both of you. Make aloha.
Make aloha, love and blessings. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message. Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Any commercial advertising you may hear in this program is of the sole discretion and benefit of the host of whose program you are listening to. Revolution Radio does not endorse any commercial products, nor does it accept monetary compensation for on-air advertising of commercial products, nor will it ever. We are and shall remain 100% listener supported. Any product advertising on this program are considered used at higher risk, and Revolution Radio shall not be held liable for any claims or damages received from any product advertised within this program. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Most guys freeze. That's your cerebral cortex looking for an answer it doesn't have.
See? Even your brain knows you're screwed.
Your body's filling with adrenaline right now, whether you know it or not. Your heart's beating fast. It's getting a little harder to breathe. The neurobiological system is telling it to run, but your knees are too weak to move.
Fear
is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. Reporting.
Want entertainment designed just for you? Then check out customizable streaming TV from Xfinity. It makes your life simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity gives you customizable streaming TV options. Enjoy the most free shows anywhere on any device, and even access your streaming apps right on your TV with X1. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Restrictions apply.